Shri Vishnu Sahasranama, number 759, Medha-ja. The previous name was Sumedha, which means he of very good intelligence. So we might think that the next name, Medha-ja, there's also something to do with intelligence. But actually it's not. And none of the acharyas who have commentated on this have explained it like that. It's a different word. This Medha, Sumedha, Medha means intelligence, but Medha has a completely different meaning. It's just the syllable a or a at the end gives a different, the short syllable and the long syllable gives a completely different meaning. Medha refers to yajna or sacrifice. So the literal meaning of this name is he who is born from or as a result of sacrifice. Sacrifice is generally the term used to translate the Sanskrit yajna or yajna, as some people pronounce it, which according to some is the correct pronunciation. So those who have been following Vishnu Sahasranama, they know that this names connected with yajna, they've already come up. There are more coming up. It's a major point in Vedic culture, especially in the Treta Yuga. Tretayang yajyato makhai. Tretayang yajyato makhai. In Treta Yuga, the Supreme Lord is principally worshipped by sacrifice. Not that he's not worshipped in other ages. Like we have that famous verse, Krite yadhayato Vishnam. Tretayang yajyato makai dwapare paricharyayang kalo yadhari kirtanat. In the Satya Yuga or Krita Yuga, the Supreme Lord is principally worshipped or approached by the process of meditation. In the Treta Yuga by sacrifice. In the Dwapara Yuga by paricharya, which in this context means deity worship, and in the Kali-yuga by Sankirtana, or kirtan, glorification, particularly by glorification of his names, Nam Kirtan. Now, that doesn't mean that there's no meditation in Kali-yuga, or no sacrifice, or no deity worship. All these four things go on in all four yugas, but they are more in different yugas. Some of them are more prominent and more suitable for the people of that age. So we've discussed so many things. The 5 Mahayagyas that one is supposed to perform every day: Bhuta Yagya, Pitru Yagya, Nara Yagya, Rishi Yagya, Deva Yagya, sacrifices for the people the living beings in general, the forefathers, other humans, the great rishis, and the demigods. We've discussed so many points about this. Parashara Bhatta, he explains this name to mean particularly in relationship with Krishna, who appeared from the womb of Devaki, so we are told. Yes, it's a fact. It's right there in Shastra. He appeared, Vasudev, Krishna appeared from the womb of Devaki. Of course, Yashoda is also known as Devaki. It's one of her names. But we're referring to Devaki here, the first wife of Vasudeva. So Sri Bhatta states, Ato medhe devaki putriya vrata rupe yagye jata iti Medha-ja. He was born to Devaki as a result of the Medha, or sacrifice in the form of austerities, tapo yagya. Yagya, when it's stated that in Treta Yuga, he was worshipped, Tretang Yajato Makai. Maka is a particular form of fire sacrifice, but as we learn from Bhagavad Gita, there are various other forms of sacrifices. So the sacrifice of austerities that she and her husband performed induced him to appear from the womb of Devaki as the son of Vasudeva. Parashar Bhatta cites Vishnu Purana in this regard, that, and there are similar verses there in Srimad Bhagavatam, but just as we in the Gauriya Vaishnava Sampradaya prefer to quote Srimad Bhagavatam, so in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya they prefer to quote the Vishnu Purana. And many of the narrations in these two Puranas, they're just parallel. So from Vishnu Purana, after the birth of Lord Krishna, he speaks to Devaki, Stuto ham yat tvaya purvam putrarthinyata dadyate saphalam devi sanjatam jato ham yat tavodarat. O revered lady, Devi is here stated as revered lady. Interestingly, it doesn't say mother. He's referring to her with respect. Devi is a little distant. Can be to one's wife also, but that's another. So, O revered lady, you praised me before, desirous of having me as your son. Your prayers have been fruitful today since I have taken birth from your womb. Also from Vishnu Dharma, Parashar Bhatta gives evidence. Sabhagya raditenoktam yat prasannena te shubhe tatkritam sapalam devi. O auspicious lady. Here Devi is, same word is translated differently. O auspicious lady, when you worshipped me in the proper manner previously, I became pleased and made a promise to you. The promise being that he would become her son. That has now been enacted. Another Sri Vaishnava commentator, Sri V.V. Ramanujan, gives other instances where the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, Vishnu, has taken birth as the child of devotees as a result of their yagya or their vow. He gives the example of Vamanadev, born as the son of Aditi in response to her payovrata. This is described, those who study Srimad Bhagavatam know this is described in the 8th canto of Bhagavatam, and very well known that Bhagavan Ramachandra, along with his brothers, Bharat, Lakshman, Shatrughna. Yeah, and of course it's very well known that Sri Ramachandra, along with his brothers Bharat, Lakshman and Shatrughna, appeared in this world as a result of the Putreshti Yagya, a Yagya performed specifically for fulfilling the desire for having a son, or in this case, sons. And that Yagya was performed by Rishi Ashringa the Yagyik, on behalf of the Yajaman Dasharath Maharaj. So that's very well known. So these are examples how he is Medha-ja. He's Medha-ja, born from sacrifice. Of course, in all these cases, the Supreme Lord appears as a result, not exactly, because the Supreme Lord is not bound by karma or by but he is bound by the love of his devotees. He responds to the desires of the devotees. And the normal system for propitiating the Supreme Lord for everyone, if they have material desires or whether they're pure devotees or whatever, is to perform something, a sacrifice or a vow or something to propitiate the Supreme Lord. Sri V.V. Ramanujan also says that Yashoda and Nanda, they had Lord Krishna as their son because of their tapa. But in his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 8, Text 50, Srila Prabhupada describes that Yashoda and Nanda, they were in a different category to that of Vasudeva and Devaki, because it's described in the Bhagavatam that previously as Drona and Dhara, they were asked by Lord Brahma to give birth to children. And they said, well, we'd like to have the Supreme Lord as our son. And then he arranged for them to be born in the village of Vraja, or to go there. So it's not described they performed austerities. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that I just mentioned, because whenever Krishna appears on this earth, he superficially needs a father and mother. Drona and Dhara, his eternal father and mother, appeared on earth before Krishna as Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, in contrast to Sutapa and Prishni. Sutapa and Prishni became Vasudeva and Devaki. In contrast to Sutapa and Prishni, they did not undergo severe penances and austerities to become the father and mother of Krishna. Sutapa, it gives the idea of someone who performs strong austerities, or austerities with a good motive. But there's nothing seen in the Nanda. He doesn't have to do anything to become the Lord's father. Another Sri Vaishnava commentator, Sri Radha Krishna Shastri, gives the example of Lord Varadaraja in Kanchi. I'm in Vellore district, close to Vellore city in Tamil Nadu, quite close to Kanchipuram, where the Supreme Lord manifested himself famously. Varadaraja, his temple is still there. He manifested himself from the sacrificial fire of Lord Brahma in Kanchi. The story is that Lord Brahma, he conducted a yajna at Kanchi, it's eternally a holy place. It's nothing new. It wasn't that by Lord Brahma performing a yajna there that it became known as a holy place. But he went there to perform a yajna because it is a holy place. Even he lives in Brahmaloka, which is a very high, elevated place, but he preferred to do the yajna in Kanchi because it's eternally a holy place. So he performed the yajna. There's a similar story at Pushkar, where Lord Brahma performed the yajna without his wife Saraswati. She was late coming, or she was playing some games or something. So he did the yajna with he married, in Pushkar the story is given, he married Gayatri, who's from a lower caste, and then Savitri, and did the yajna with them, because the wife is required when a householder performs yajnas. That's why we see in the first verse of the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, sannyasi is described as, or a real sannyasi is described, anashrita karma palam karyam karma karoti yaha sa sannyasi cha yogi cha nani ragnena chakriyaha. A real sannyasi, Lord Krishna says, is one who works as he is obliged without being attached to the results, not one who renounces all work and has nothing to do with fire. So the idea is that sannyasis don't perform fire sacrifices. Householders do that, and they're required to have their wives present when they do that. So anyway, Saraswati became very upset at all this, and she flowed as a river. Saraswati is the goddess of learning, the goddess of music, the wife of Brahma, in another form the wife of Vishnu, and also famous as a river. So she flowed as the river Vegavati, which gives the idea of a very fast-moving river, very dangerous river. So the Supreme Lord, at the request of Lord Brahma, he checked the floods by lying down across the river. He became a dam to dam the river. And then later, after the yajna was finished, he appeared from the flames of the yajna. So there's an instance of the Supreme Lord appearing from the yajna in Kanchi. Also in Bhagavatam, in the 5th canto, at the beginning of the 5th canto, or near to the beginning of the 5th canto, we have the narration of Maharaj Nabhi, who performed a yajna, and the Supreme Lord appeared. He personally appeared in the presence of everyone there. He was very pleased with Maharaj Nabhi, and he became the son of Maharaj Nabhi, who was known as Rishabdev. So he born from the yajna, Medha-ja. The word Medha-ja gives the idea of born from the yajna. But we know from Bhagavad Gita, Ajopi sanavyayatma aja. He is unborn. His transcendental body doesn't undergo any diminution, which means he doesn't die also. Ajopi sanavyayatma bhutanam ishvaropi san prakriting swamadhishtaya sambhavami atmamayaya. I am unborn, he says, Krishna says, but I appear by my own mercy in this material energy. I'm the master of all living beings. He's not on the same level as the living beings, but he appears by his own mercy among them. So when we say Medha-ja, he's born from a sacrifice, it means it's not really born, because it's not that he comes into being, nor does any living being come into being. Najayate, that is there in Gita also. Najayate, he doesn't come into being. He's not born, doesn't come into being. So all these words should be understood. When we say Medha-ja, he's born from a sacrifice, we should know that the word born is used in relation to the Supreme Lord in a different way to the appearance of living beings in this material world, the bodies of living beings which are born. So actually the Supreme Lord is there in every yajna. There's no yajna without him. So, yajna invokes his presence. Yajnas in this world, they're often generally performed for material reasons. But those who are very intelligent, transcendentalists, they perform sacrifice for his pleasure only. In this Kali-yuga, the sacrifice or the yajna is the chanting of the holy names of Krishna in Sankirtana. Samyak Kirtan, complete Kirtan is Samyak Kirtan, Sankirtan. Complete Kirtan means done with full spirit, with no personal desire. And also Bahubir Milit Vayat Kirtanamiti Sankirtanam. When many come together to chant, that's called Sankirtan. So in this Kali-yuga, Krishna Varnam Tvasha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtanam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayer Yajantihi Sumedha Saha. People who are very intelligent in this Kali-yuga, which in Kali-yuga people are generally not very intelligent, but those who are intelligent in Kali-yuga, they worship the Supreme Lord, who always chants the name of Krishna himself, who is Krishna, but who is not blackish in bodily form, in bodily color, who is accompanied by his servants, associates, weapons. His weapon is his beauty, Lord Chaitanya. He's worshipped by the process of Sankirtan. So Krishna is his holy name, and he is to be worshipped by Sankirtan. So, paraphrasing this verse in Bengali in his Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami states that Sankirtan Pravartak Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sankirtan Jagge Tare Bhaje Shedana. He says that the inaugurator of the Sankirtan Yagya is Sri Krishna Chaitanya, and whoever worships Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by the process of Sankirtan is certainly glorious. And he goes on to say, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami goes on to say, Sheto Shumeda Ar Kubuddhi Shangsha. Such a person is of good, clean, elevated, exalted intelligence, and everyone else is just in material and not good intelligence. And then he goes on to say, Sarva Jagga Haite Krishna Nama Jagga Shah. Of all the yagyas, all the different kinds of yagyas that can be performed, the essence of them all is chanting the holy names. So in this way, we're very fortunate to be born in Kali-yuga. We can't properly perform yagyas the way that they were performed previously by Rishi Shringa, with Dasharatha, Nabhi Maharaj. We can't do that. We don't have the pure Brahmins, we don't have the pure ghee. Even if we have little pure ghee, we can't get so much of it together, and the king should be pious, and we don't even have a king. So there should be no cow slaughter in the whole country. So we can do Nam Yagya. In Kali Yuga, we can do Nam Yagya. And Krishna, we should perform Sankirtan in such a way that Krishna will wish to appear, just like at the Keturi festival, after the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya in the next generation. All the great devotees, some of the older ones had personally seen Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but it was mostly the next generation. The festival was organized by Narottam Das and his followers, along with Srinivas and Shyamananda and their followers, and so many great devotees attended. Narottam Das and others were lamenting that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was present in this world just a short time ago, but we missed him, we didn't see him. But their kirtan in that festival was so blissful that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhar, Srivas, and all the great associates, they appeared. So that should be our standard for kirtan. Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. Why not? He likes to join in kirtan, just like in Mayapur we have the Pancha Tattvas, the huge deities. So our aim, I've heard that the deities, there's going to be some problem moving them to the new temple. For some reason, we won't be able to move them. But if you have blissful kirtan, you won't even have to think about moving them. They'll dance themselves. That should be the aim, that we're dancing in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he'll be so inspired by our kirtan that he will come and dance with us. Kirtan! We should perform kirtan in such a way that it's so blissful that we perceive, it's Krishna is present. Everyone participating, they they experience the presence of Krishna. It's not a musical performance. It is, but it's done in such a way that the mercy of Krishna just descends. And that is possible if those performing kirtan do so with a pure heart, only for the desire, only with the desire to please Krishna, not doing it for any other reason, not just a formality. We perform in our temples kirtan every day. It should not descend to the platform of a formality. Every kirtan should be so blissful, and every time we participate in kirtan, try to dance as long as we have energy in our bodies to do so, for the pleasure of Krishna. We're there to please Krishna. And that is the whole essence of yajna, sacrifice. In the sacrifice, we offer grains and ghee into the fire, but Sankirtan yajna means calling out to Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Krishna, oh energy of Krishna, please engage in me in your service. So it's throwing our whole being, throwing ourselves into the fire of Sankirtan, offering ourselves with full confidence that Krishna will accept me, Krishna will protect me, and not looking back, like looking back at Sodom and becoming converted into a pillar of salt. No looking back, just throwing ourselves at Krishna. Atmanikshepa, this is the essence of Sharanagati, throwing ourselves at Krishna. Every kirtan, it's a festival. Every kirtan should be like that, just a real sacrifice. It may be that not everyone's inspired and devotees are just standing around. We're trying to enthuse them, and at least we can dance for Krishna. We don't have to be self-conscious if others are not doing so. This is what we come to kirtan for, to give ourselves to Krishna and to receive Krishna's mercy, which should enliven us. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was accused by the Mayavadi sannyasis at Varanasi. What are you doing dancing? Sannyasis aren't supposed to dance. That's only for low-class people. He said, well, I'm sorry, it's not my fault, but my guru told me to chant Hare Krishna. And when I chant Hare Krishna, I automatically dance. There's nothing I can do about it. Oh, Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, let us remember him. At least we can connect with Krishna. It's our connection with Krishna. In chanting japa also, yajnanam japa yagyosmi, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Yes, Krishna says, of all yagyas, I am the japa yagya, which we can understand as the chanting of his holy names. So he's born from that. Again, connecting with Krishna, chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Baladev Vidyabhushan gives a different meaning altogether from the other commentators. He states that Vishnu becomes manifest, ja. It usually means birth, but it means coming into being, or becomes manifest upon meeting Medha, a devotee. So this can be understood. He makes his presence felt, or he becomes present in the gathering when his devotees come together. When his devotees come together, well, what do we expect? If a group of businessmen get together, we can expect they'll talk about business and money. If a group of criminals come together, they'll discuss crimes, the different crimes they've done and the new crimes they're planning on doing. A group of devotees come together, then what do we expect? Madchita madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantas jamang nityang tushanticha ramanticha. Devotees come together, parasparanukathanam, to discuss about Krishna, and they take great pleasure. They're very happy to do so. Enlighten one another. And Krishna is present. He's present in the hearts of his devotees. And when they come together and discuss, he's very happy to be present. So we can invoke the presence of Krishna by speaking about Krishna. I started to give this series of talks some years ago, now on name 759, because I was giving various talks on various philosophical topics connected with Krishna consciousness, and some talks on controversial issues related with our Vaishnava society. But then I thought, I need to talk about Krishna. It's all right to talk about how miserable the material world is and various shenanigans going on in Vaishnava society which shouldn't be going on. But I need to talk about Krishna. I don't want to get too much concentrating on factors concerned with this material world. So I thought this is a good way to do that. Vishnu Sahasranama. It's approved by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the acharyas. So when I speak on this name, then I have to speak about Krishna. And although for a long time there wasn't much interest in these talks, gradually more and more devotees are taking interest in it, and more devotees are listening to these talks. So yeah, we should in our whole society, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, we should always remember it's Krishna. It's Krishna. The important word in there is not, well, they're all important put together, but the words international, society, consciousness, the central word is Krishna. So let us discuss Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Dante nitaya churnakang padayo nipatya kritvacha kakushatamedadaham ravime. Hey sadhava sakala eva vihaya durat goranga chandra charane kurutanuraga. Parivadatu jano yatata va nanumukaro navayang vicharayamaha. Hari rasa madira madati mata bhuvi vilutama nartama